Hey, hey, this is your DJ Ecstasy here at Core Magazine 96.1 KEXU. We're the people's voice and the voice of the crossroads. Also, check us out at www.coremagazine.org, PNN, Poor News Network on YouTube. So today I have a very, very special guest, my good friend, Ivy.
Hi.
Right. So Ivy is an amazing, amazing warrior of arts and social justice, and we're here to talk about, among other things, the benefit that she and friends are putting on February 22nd at the Stud. It is a benefit for the Jack Mel Expression Arts Collective in Haiti, right? Okay, so Ivy, I just want to ask you a couple of questions, but first, do you want to plug this?
Yes. Thank you, Lori, for having me, and thank you, Poor. Love you. I'm organizing a benefit, which is this Thursday, February 22nd, at the Stud, which is also the first collectivized nightclub in the nation. Queer collectives, the Stud Bar. So, Jack Mel Expression benefit, Homobiles, Messy Lover, Chrissy Bell, and Honey Mahogany. The amazing Honey Mahogany is going to do drag performance. She's doing a Nina Simone song. That's what I do know. But I have very fabulous raffle prizes, so please come out. It's sliding scale, 7 to 20. Anything you can give would be wonderful. And it starts at 10 o'clock.
That's right. Be there or be dead. Okay, so I want to move on. Not really move on, but maybe circle back, right? So, you know, at POUR, we're all about connecting the global to local and the local to global dots, right? So we know that locally and globally there are these forces, you know, capitalism, gentrification, white supremacy, classism, heterosexism, you know, that are, you know, poised, it feels like poised in a lot of ways to destroy our neighborhoods, our cultures, and our righteous way of life. So Ivy is a traveler. She's been to many places, Haiti included. I wanted to ask you a little bit, why were you in Haiti the first time?
Well, what brought me to Haiti is the first time, I grew up in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, I grew up partly in foster care. So I grew up with kids from all over the Caribbean, including Haiti and Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Dominican. And I had this amazing connection to Haiti and Cuba. I always wanted to go to these places that informed where I grew up. And I became interested in Haiti as a place in my early formative political consciousness too. So I cut my teeth on world politics when Aristide was first ousted in 1992. So I started to learn about the politics, the history, the religion, about Haiti being the first Black republic. And I just did all this reading and had friends from Haiti, and I was just so inspired by the story of Haiti and its creation of a people from the peoples from all over Africa in the Middle Passage, overthrowing colonialism and imperialism, and using that to create their own language, their own culture, their own religion, in the face of so many forces working against them. So that was a long arc. It took me 15 years, and I finally made it in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And how I went was with a good friend who I knew from San Francisco, Flo McGarrell. He'd been a couple times, and we actually bonded working on a movie that was a local movie called Maggots and Men. And we both wanted to go to Haiti since we were kids. We bonded over that. And in 2007, he said, "So, you want to go to Haiti?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, Well, you pay for your airfare, and all you have to do is volunteer at a 3-day free art and music festival on the beach in Jacmel. And, you know, from there I said, yeah, twist my arm, of course.
So yeah, well, so
yeah,
I want to
I made it.
Right on. I want to ask because you know, I mean, there are plenty of there are plenty of people who, you know, go to a country, you know, kind of, you know, go to a different country, go to a different place, kind of country hop, you know, volunteer a little, soak up the beach, you know. But you were there with the locals, you know. You were in the neighborhoods doing the work, like drawing the water, like, you know. How did you get involved with the locals and the local community, like on that level, you know, more than just tourists, more than just art tourists?
Right. Well, as a person who's dedicated my life to being you know, an activist and working in solidarity with people, poor people, from where I'm from to wherever I find myself. I'm a person who always goes to meet. I always want to talk to strangers. I always want to find out what people are experiencing in their communities, and that's part of what I've always done. And how I became connected through that first trip was really that I met some of my closest friends to this day who were feminists, including my friend Magali Marceline, who is considered the mother of the modern day feminist movement in Haiti. She opened the first domestic violence shelter in the country in 1986. So, you know, I met other friends who were poets, who were artists, who were dancers, and it really was the people who really were for the love of community doing this work. That was how I really was drawn in, was through these really amazing community-minded friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that I actually remember this. You and I were in communication. You know, I think we were neighbors or close to it at that time. When the earthquake happened, you were on the ground like days after. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to be there and what happened after?
Yeah. So I was actually my friend Flo McGarrell, who I went with for the very first time in '07. He ended up moving to Jacmel, Haiti, where I do spend most of my time when I go. He was invited back to direct a free art school, and he and I had a collaboration that we wanted to work on, a film project in Haiti, and Magali Marceline, who I was mentioning earlier. I was in communication with both Magali and Flo about coming to live and work with both of them. I was going to, Magali was a mentor. She was always about bursting the myth of scarcity. So I was gonna travel with her, and she would always go from city to town to village, networking women and other community organizations, helping women to found their own like business organizations, small business, or advocacy projects. So I was going to make a documentary about her life. So that was that was the original plan. And I was leaving for that trip. It was going to be Cuba and then Haiti. And I left for Cuba the day after the earthquake struck. What ended up happening was both Flo and Magali died in the earthquake. So those were my close friends who I was in regular touch with for 6 months on a regular basis. And you know, I first found out about Flo, and you know, I was devastated. And then when I found out Magali had passed, I knew I had to go. So I talked to her daughter, who's my close friend, Maile, and I asked her if I should come, and she said, if you want to, yes. I asked her, what should I bring? She gave me this very long list, and I was able to it was the most aligned I've ever felt in the universe. I was able to get the money, the resources, and a couple of friends who were in line with doing solidarity work, and not a white savior trip, but doing solidarity work. So I was on the ground 3 weeks after the earthquake for 2 months, working on various projects.
Okay, and one of those projects Amazing. One of those projects was the Jacmel expression. Was the
early
art center.
incarnation,
yeah?
yes.
The early incarnation of the center. Okay, so can you answer me a question? What does art have to do with earthquake relief?
That's a really good question. I think that art has a lot to do with healing, and it has everything to do with finding other ways, transformative languages to move through pain and loss.
Mm-hmm.
My good friend Ambroise Anderson, he was an incredible painter and sculptor who was part of Fossage, and you know, his community had also lost you know, their close friend who basically was the glue of their community art scene. So he ended up taking money that he'd earned from a commission to buy sugar paper and paint, and worked with kids who had lost their homes in the earthquake to make kites. Mm-hmm. And they made these, and they hand painted the kites, and that was part of his healing as a Jacmelian, working with kids who were deeply traumatized, whether they had lost their homes or loved ones, to find ways to transform and heal. And seeing them fly the kites through the plaza is something that's always going to be with me. It's this beautiful vision of how to actually use art as a way to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and these weren't non-profiteers. These weren't
no.
therapy students coming in from the United States.
Not at all. No,
these were Jacmelians.
These were Haitians for Haitians. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, we talk a lot at POUR about solidarity and giving in solidarity and community reparations. And Ivy, it really seems like you put this, you've put this idea to work in a pure and beautiful way. And so I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll have Ivy back so she can tell us more. And please hit up the Jacmel Expression Benefit. Once again, it's at
the Stud Bar, which is located at 399 9th Street in San Francisco.
Yeah, the 22nd of February.
February 22nd. Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Ivy. Okay.